Hey, what's up guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video overview, yes, not a review, of the MSI Nightblade. Now this can be found on a B85 chipset and a Z97 chipset. The biggest difference between the chipsets is that one can overclock, which is the Z97, and the other can't, so do bear in mind before making a purchase. In terms of where you can find this and the pricing availability, it's £260 on Amazon.co.uk for the B85, which is the one I have in front of me. The Z97 can be found for £350, and the on Amazon.com you can find it for $420 for the Z97. Now you might be wondering, what is a barebone PC? Now right in front of me I've got a demo unit that I got sent by MSI. There's a few things that I'm missing from the box, so I can't really cover them, and more so I can't actually do a review of it, and the basis of that is because I don't have a CPU to test. I've got a GPU, I've got RAM, I've got an optical drive, I've got the SSD and HDDs and everything like that, but obviously the biggest thing over here would be the CPU, and if I can't use the CPU I can't turn the PC on, so it's pointless trying. So this is why I'm making an overview, not a review, because I can't fully test its thermal capabilities. I can't test how it deals under load in terms of the fan that's included, and on top of that I can't see how hot my CPU gets in comparison to a bigger case like my Fractal Design R4 case. But apart from that, I'm just going to be looking over the case, and on top of that making my sharing my opinions, let's put it that way. So what do you get? Well, you've got a PSU, motherboard, fan, as explained already, and you've got the case. In terms of buying these all separately from various different manufacturers, the ones that the PSU that's included is a 80 plus rated 600 watt PSU. God, it's quite hard to think right now. And for all of those parts, you'd be paying around £200. So £260 is a £60 markup of what you get, and obviously it's already pre-built, so you don't have to worry about cable management. Is that a good investment? Well, that is really up to you to decide. For me, I think it's a nice little, I guess, a little extra that you're paying, but a little extra you're paying, you are getting something that's a little more hassle-free, especially when it comes to installing a motherboard with all the wires that are here, whereas these are already included and the PSU is fit for purpose. In terms of the PSU, I feel the 600 watts is overkill, if you really ask me, simply because literally an SLI 680 setup, or even a Crossfire 290X setup draws from the wall about 600 watts. So I find it a little bit odd to find a 600 watt PSU in a system that's really a Mini-ITX build and it's only going to be taking one GPU. It would be nicer to see a 500, maybe 450 watt PSU, because I think that's more than capable to deal with any graphics cards on the market at a reasonable level. So in terms of that, I think there's going to be drawing more power than it needs, but I guess MSI went a little bit extra just in order to deal with any given system that needs it. So 600 watts can be more than enough for any sort of system you're going to put on this. As I said, Crossfire SLI, which you cannot do in here, it will also be possible on that sort of PSU. Now, the case itself is very nice. It's actually very, very heavy, and I'm very surprised about that. It's a little bit of a pro and a con for me, because the weight of it doesn't make it that portable, despite its size being extremely small. In order to compare it, I'm going to bring a Volvic bottle and put it next to it. This is the best way to test it, because everyone has a 1.5 litre water bottle they can look at, and this is really the size. You can see its height is about the size of a 1.5 meter bottle, and even its length, it's very, very close. Now, speaking about its length, it can fit a full-sized GPU underneath. It's going to be very snug, and it's going to be downward facing. Now, in terms of downward facing, you might be worried, oh, it's going to go on my carpet. For example, at the bottom I've got a carpet over here, and the fan is going to overheat. Well, first of all, you do have a ventilation place over here which looks see-through, and then you have a dust cover which goes on top. Now, dust cover wasn't sent with my review unit, but normally you get a dust cover, so that's brilliant. You might be still thinking, well, it's still going to be on the ground. Well, no. due to its design, it has a handlebar over here. Now the handlebar serves as actually taking it on the go, and also serves as keeping the case a little bit off the ground. It's very hard to see, but essentially, if you can see it like that, it's a little bit off the ground. This means that the GPU has just enough room to breathe. Personally, I don't really like the placement of that. This is more of a personal preference, simply because I don't feel that room is quite enough for a GPU to really be breathing. If I put a 290X in there and either overclock it or really run heavy benchmarks, I feel that GPU is going to be under high strain in terms of a small place, and it's going to be really heating up, which is a concern, especially if you have an AMD card. Apart from that, I feel that the CPU cooler has enough space, more than enough space. In fact, you could probably put a liquid cooler if you'd want to. And the little fan that's included here is actually very nice. It can be controlled via software, which I'll link in the description below, that can be customized in terms of RPM, so you can reduce the noise if needs be, or leave it on stock. And the fan is also themed in a red theme, which is quite nice, so it makes it look very nice. Now, in terms of the ports and everything that you get at the back, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got two USB 2.0 at the back, you've got PSU connector, you've got DisplayPort, HDMI, SPDIF, you've got the Wi-Fi antennas, you've got DVI, and then you've got USB 3.0, 2.0, SATA, the Ethernet, which is the speed Ethernet, which MSI offer. Again, I cannot test that, so I can't comment on it. And you've got the onboard sound inputs. So you've really got all the inputs you'd want, and loads of USB, which is brilliant because I use a lot of USBs on my actual PC, so it's brilliant to have a lot of USB options. Speaking about USB options, you actually have it in the front, on the front as well. You've got two USB 2.0 ports and two USB 3.0 ports. You've got a mic and a headphone input, and you've got a little button over here with, on the Z97 version, provides you an OC Genie boost. So in other words, automatically overclocks your CPU. And of course you've got the nice on and off button. The look of it is actually very nice, and the brushed aluminium, it really does fit with the theme of the case. Your MSI Dragon Army logo at the top, and MSI over here. You've got ventilation over here for input, I guess. So the in will be air will be flowing in from the front and exiting from the rear. And you've got a drive bay, which actually looks very sleek. One thing I did notice is that there is no sort of eject button for the CD. So obviously that's going to be done via PC, but there's no eject button unless I'm drastically missing something over here, but there is none. So that's just a little bit of a flaw. I would have liked a little eject button, despite it being very small. It would have been something useful. So obviously you can do that via your computer. You go on my computer and eject, but you know, it would be nice to have a physical one. Apart from that, guys, there's not much else I can really say about the case because I can't really test it. I can say that what's included is that you've got a bunch of accessories. So you've got some extra screws, you've got cable tidy, cable management, you've got the antennas, which is for the Wi-Fi card, you've got extra SATA connectors, you've got mSATA, SSD and mSATA, and then you've got the driver disc and the manuals, and then you've got the two panels which go on the side, which is something I just want to quickly mention. One thing that kind of confuses me is at the back of the case, you've got quite an interesting design. You've got these little thumb screws which can be removed very easily by hand, and unfortunately they don't have any sort of screw bit inclusion over here, but they can be easily taken out by hand, and that can take the bottom panel off and the side panels off. But one of the side panels doesn't have these thumb screws, meaning that you have to actually use a physical screwdriver because it's actual screws that's there. It just really something I just kind of noticed, simply because it's weird that one side has this lock-on, lock-off effect, which is pretty cool. The other two have got this thumb screw one, and then one of the sides have this has this actual screw that you need to unscrew. It would be nice if they're all thumb screws, or if they're all with this clicky mechanism. I think it would have provided a overall better experience, but it's just something small. I don't see many people actually removing this part, because this is where the back of the case is, and on top of that there's nothing that's really going to be going on over here apart from the fact of when you put the motherboard. So it's nothing special, but it's just something I thought I should mention. Finally, in terms of these thumb screws, they actually double up as being a stand. It's a very small stand to be off the ground, but it allows it to be a little bit off the ground if you want to carry it or just want to put it there. Of course, all the inputs for the motherboard are at the rear, so therefore you can't actually use the case freestanding as I just showed you right there, because you're going to need to access these ports one way or another, be it for PSU or anything else. So the wires can't go route around. So do bear that in mind. So overall, I do like the principle of a barebone case. I do like its design, especially of this MSI Nightblade. But personally, if I was actually building a PC and I went to the trouble of actually buying a barebone PC like this, I still have to go to a huge amount of trouble to go and put in the CPU, the cooler, which can be a pain sometimes, the GPU, the RAM, the optical drive. And this might seem simple to some, including myself. I mean, this is all simple to me. I could make all of this very easily, or build it, shall I say. But people who don't really know that much about PCs are buying this, then it's not as simple as some might think. For example, the CPU cooler can be a real pain to put in some respects. So you can buy this in terms of a full system build, but when you're buying a full system build, then you're going to have more options anyway, and you can buy any sort of PC in theory with a full system build. But in this respect, you're buying a barebone PC. So I don't really understand the principle of a barebone PC personally, and I don't see why someone would buy it, be it if they were experienced or not experienced, because either way, one person who's experienced would probably build it themselves, and the person which is not experienced would probably be going for a full system build, because this is still a bit too complicated for them. Now, it's a little bit of a niche market, I guess, but there might be some people looking for it. And I gotta say, in terms of value for money, you do get good value for money. £260 versus £200 buying all the parts separately. It is decent, and the overall build quality is what I'm looking out for over here, and it's good. Apart from that, I can't comment on any performance of the case or the thermal capabilities, more to the point, and I can't comment about the chipset itself that's being used, but it is essentially similar to the bigger sized motherboard, the ATX motherboard that can be found on the B85 or Z97. Anyway guys, I've been rambling on more than I should have for an overview video, but hopefully this video provides to be useful. I would like to thank MSI for actually sending me this out for review, to send it back, but I do appreciate them sending it out for me to look at, because it's one of the first barebone PCs I've actually looked at, and therefore it's very interesting to see and how it's actually made and how it's marketed. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Again, if you want to see more, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, favorite, share, as it always helps, comment in terms of your opinions of the video and what you think of barebone PCs, and finally, if you do want to buy it, or if you want to support me through purchases that you make, go to Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk, and a link in the description below, and you can make a purchase of this or any other item that you wish. It always helps. Alright guys, Totally Dubbed out. Bye bye.